Hello and welcome to the online webinar on child development. Today we're focusing on emotional development in infants. We'll be reviewing what emotions are, what influences infants' emotions, and much more. Be sure to follow along in your provided handout. Now let's begin. So first off, let me explain what emotions are. Emotion is a feeling or effect that occurs when a person is in a state or interaction that is important to him or her. We can classify emotions as either positive or negative. Some examples of positive emotions include joy, love, and enthusiasm, while some negative emotions are sadness, guilt, and anxiety. Infants are born with primary emotions, which include joy, anger, sadness, and fear. These emotions are present in humans and animals. They are the raw emotions that infants can feel from the moment they are born. Next, we have subconscious emotions. These consist of jealousy, shame, empathy, and guilt. Self-conscious emotions develop later in life after birth because these emotions require self-awareness that involves consciousness and a sense of me. So we obviously cannot discuss emotional development in infants without touching on crying. Crying is the most important tool for infants because they use it to communicate to the world around them. As you can see on the slide, there are at least 3 types of cries that each infant has. These cries include the basic cry, anger cry, and pain cry. A cry followed by a silent and short inspiratory high-pitched whistle is the general pattern of a basic cry. The anger cry is a modified version of the basic cry, but is different in a sense that more air is forced through the vocal cords. And finally, a pain cry is initially sudden and long, followed by the infant holding their breath. As a mother, father, and or caregiver becomes closer and spends more time with their infant, they will be able to learn the different cries that their baby has. Emotional development in infants also consists of smiling. Smiling is critical because it's a way for the infant to develop new social skills and can be used as a key social signal. There are 2 types of smiling identified in infants, reflexive and social. A reflexive smile develops first. It's a smile that does not occur in response to an external stimulus. These smiles appear in the infant's first month of life and usually during his or her sleep. A social smile, on the other hand, is a smile that occurs in response to an external stimulus. These types of smiles occur as early as 4 to 6 weeks of age. Next, we'll be discussing fear. Fear is one of an infant's earliest emotions that appears at 6 months of age and peaks at about 18 months. Infants that experience abuse or neglect show fear very early in life, around 3 months of age. As infants start to develop fear, they should develop stranger anxiety, which is a fear or awareness of strangers that appears at the second half of the first year of life. Separation protest is when an infant has a distress reaction when his or her main caregiver leaves. This emotion should be normal and present in an infant. Next, we will discuss the influences that affect the infant's emotional development. There are 2 main influences, biological and environmental. The biological influence includes the development of the infant's brain. Full development of certain regions in the brain are crucial for the infant's ability to produce emotions. Studies have also shown that infants who are deeply cared for were able to recover better biologically from stressors. The diversity in emotional experiences are part of environmental influences, which indicate that healthy development of emotions also come from social relationships. Temperament is an individual's unique way of expressing their emotions in response to things. In children, temperament can be classified as easy, difficult, and slow to warm up. Although some may confine an infant to a select temperament, the infant can modify their own temperament. Culture has a huge impact on shaping the individual's temperament. The classifications of temperament we just discussed were formed by Chess and Thomas. An easy child is considered one that has a positive mood, is quick to establish a regular routine through infancy, and is easily adaptable to new experiences. A difficult child is one who tends to react negatively, cries frequently, and engages in irregular daily routines and is slow to accept changes. A slow to warm up child is one who has low activity levels, is somewhat negative, and displays a low intensity of mood. Another form of classifying temperament was theorized by Rothbard and Bates. I also have 3 classifications, which includes effortful control, negative affectivity, and extroversion certainty. Effortful control is when one is able to focus and shift their attention has perceptual sensitivity and low intensity pleasure. Negative affectivity is shown through fear, frustration, sadness, and discomfort. Extroversion surgency includes positive anticipation, impulsivity, activity level, and sensation seeking. Another theory of classifying temperament was also formed by Kagan in his theory of behavioral inhibition. This theory studies the distinction between shy, subdued, and timid children versus the social, extroverted, bold ones. Inhibition to the unfamiliar is defined as the reservedness toward strangers. At around 7 to 9 months, inhibited children react to anything unfamiliar with initial avoidance, distress, and subdued affect. Lastly, in regards to temperament, is the goodness of fit. This refers to the ability of a child to match their temperament with the environmental demands with how they must cope. For example, children who are prone to distress through their displays of frequent crying and irritation may eventually have been ignored by their parents to force the child to behave.